Can you talk just a little bit about fantasy? Why is fantasy so important to you, and fairy tales in particular?
Fairy tales tend to have lasted a long time, and you'll find fairy tales from different cultures that are remarkably similar. And it's not necessarily that they heard them from other cultures, but we tend to come up with, I think, similar pictures to represent things that are difficult to pin down in words. Fairy tales will give us a vocabulary, an imaginary vocabulary, admittedly. You know, we invent creatures and we let the trees talk and walk around.
Yeah.
These are ways of talking about things that are difficult to talk about with just didactic, scientific, rational, realistic storytelling. Tolkien, he went home and saw the trees that he had loved growing up being torn up, in the advance of industrialism. So we meet Treebeard, we meet the Ents in the Lord of the Rings. We hear their voices. We know that they have long lives and deep wells of memory, and that they are very suspicious of anything that is hasty. And I think that fantasy gives us the opportunity to think about the truth of trees, the truth of the natural world, in whimsical ways by giving personalities to them that are a little easier for us to converse with. And since the natural world was a very amazing wonderland for me as a kid, living in a suburb of Portland, Oregon, in a neighborhood where there weren't many trees and there wasn't much to look at. And so I gravitated to fantasy because I craved some kind of contact with the natural world. And it just seemed like an enchanted place to me. And so fantasy gave me a way of exploring why creation seems so alive and seems to speak in so many ways.
Visit us online at highcallingblogs.com. Woohoo!